Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Welcome back to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett are here sharing their morning with you again. I'm talking about myself in second person, or like Matt and Garrett. I am here. Matt's there. Third. I have no idea. We're here.
Third person, second person.
We're excited to be here with you today. That's what we are. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to have you on the podcast with us. Hopefully have a great episode for you today.
Yeah.
This one comes from my wife threw this topic at me the other day. She's like, could you guys do a topic on this? Because she was like, I have a pet peeve around this stuff. So that's where we're going to go today, as we always do. If you want to learn more about where this all comes from, go to ninjaselling.com. If you want to learn more about the coaching program, Matt and I always go down the path that when we're not here on the podcast with you, we're coaching. And if you want to learn more about our coaching program, we've got a ton of great coaches. We'd love to have you come check us out, learn about that. So with that being said, Matt, let's jump into the topic. Let's get rolling on this. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Good morning. Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready to rock and roll. This is a good one. It's something that people implement into their systems a lot of times. And I think there is confusion around it too. I've not only from Sarah, who has a pet peeve around it, but I've gotten lots of questions about, hey, what is this? How do we do this? Is this ninja? Can I do this? And so this will be fun.
I think that's the biggest thing is we get people going, is it ninja? And so for everybody who's sitting here going, what is the topic, guys? Just spit it out.
Yeah. Like, wait, can they guess? Take a moment, put a guess in your head and see if you're right.
It's evil. How long do you want to wait? Like a minute? 5 minutes? No, we're good. We're probably good.
I think that's good. No, that's good. They can pause it if they want to.
Yeah, they can do it. So the actual event that we're talking about is Pop-Bys. And we have so many people that come to us going like, I've got a Pop-By I'm doing a Pop-By this weekend. We're going to do Pop-Bys this month is my Pop-By month. And the conversation came up of, is it really ninja? Like when you talk about what the real definition of where Pop-Bys came from. And it can get really confusing because it can very easily be taken in a very non-ninja route. So I know there's people listening out there going like, oh, guys, don't go down that path because I love my Pop-Bys and they work well and I have great feedback from them. And there's others out there that are going like, I've heard of Pop-Bys and they don't feel right to me. They don't feel like my business. And usually it's the people that are going, it doesn't feel right. They have only watched the non-ninja way of doing it. And I want to back up that there is very much a ninja approach that we can take to Pop-By. So Matt, I threw this topic at you and excited to go down this path with you today and what this looks like. And for any of you that hears a little voice, a little soft voice in the background, and they're sitting there going like, is there a child in the car with me? Like, what did I just hear? Matt has the most adorable little girl in his office with him right now that's not feeling well, and she is going to be on this episode with us. And at that age, no matter how much you say, can you just be quiet, sweetheart?
Just for a little bit.
We're going to have her part of this podcast today. That is just how it's going to be.
She's been on one before, long ago, back when she was like in her little car seat.
She was on the live one when we were in Charleston.
Oh, well, she was on that one too. Yeah, that was actually more recent. But she was on one, if you go way back, when she was like, months old, sitting in a little car seat, taking a nap while we were doing kind of the early days of the podcast. That was fun. But yes, Victoria's here. She promised to be quiet. We'll see. But hey, I'm excited to talk about Pop-Bys because it's not something that's mentioned in Ninja. And I think this is why people ask the question, just like any other thing, like, well, going after expireds or FSBOs or door knocking or these things like, oh, those aren't Ninja because they're not mentioned in there. And I always start with, well, hey, let's just back up to understand, well, what is Ninja Selling? Ninja Selling is a user-friendly system that will help you increase your income per hour. It's a philosophy and increase your income per hour so you can have a life. There's a philosophy, there's a mindset behind it that if applied to your relationships, regardless of how those relationships come about, your business will thrive. And so if we start there of like, okay, that's what Ninja is, now how do we want to apply that? And can Pop-Bys fill in and be a part of that system? Well, then Yeah, I mean, I get you could even just not call it Pop-Bys if that makes you feel better about it.
Well, and Matt, so you go back to the philosophy, and I think one of the things you always need to ask yourself if you're truly sitting there and saying, "Am I walking in alignment with Ninja?" One of the things you always need to look at is am I in attracting mode or am I in pursuing mode? And this is where the Pop-Bys get kind of weird, because very quickly they go into a pursuit mode. Why am I doing this Pop-By? Is it customized to the person that I'm talking to? Is it something that's going to resonate with them in a way that's going to make them move towards me? Or is it a pursuit mode? This is where my wife was like, this is where it needs to be addressed, is most Pop-Bys are done in a way of, I'm going to go generate some business. I'm going to do Pop-Bys.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset of, I'm going to generate business, so I'm going to go do Pop-Bys and pass out all this swag all over to everybody that I can possibly drop by their house and give it to them. It's just not a Ninja mindset around that. Now, if you're sitting here saying, like, I have stuff that I want to share with people that I think is going to change their life. Oh, and yeah, it happens to connect them back into my world and lets them see that I'm a professional real estate agent. It brings this different intention with it that can cause business to happen. It's a subtle mindset, but it's one of those things that I think as people are learning Ninja, it can be very easily the lines can get blurred really fast. And with done with the right intention, it's awesome. With done with the wrong intention, it can kind of mess up all the work you've done with building all these incredible relationships and all these things. Because all of a sudden we're all about them. We're talking about them. They're getting stuff that resonates with what our expertise is and what we do for real estate. And then they get this funky thing that has this weird tagline on it about like how their success is unmeasurable without them in their life. And it's like, okay, wait a second.
And they give them a tape measure.
And it's like, okay, so we have 1,000 tape measures that we're going to pass out over the next month. Or that's an exaggeration. Let's say 100.
I do always need to find a good tape measure, by the way.
Tape measures, calculators, seeds, sowing the seeds for success. And thank you for being a part of my success in real estate. Like, I look at that type of stuff and I go, why? Like, why? I don't understand the purpose of it. Now, if like my friend just did Pop-Bys all through the holidays and he did bottles of really nice olive oil. It didn't have any taglines on it. It didn't have anything special that said, I can't even come up with a dumb tagline for the olive oil. I'm sorry. Brain's not functioning at that level right now.
I have a couple that are going through my head, but I don't think they're podcast friendly.
No. So, but at the same time, like, he's passed out hundreds of bottles of olive oil when he gets that chance to be like, oh, guys, just want to say happy holidays. And here's a little something from us. That's technically a Pop-By. He's technically stopping by a lot of their houses just to be like, hey, just want to stop by and give this to you guys and say hi, how you doing? Having a great conversation on their front porch at their place of business. But the intention is about giving them something for them. It's not about something that has been turned into something about the real estate agent. And that is the fundamental difference that I think we need to figure out.
Well, and it correlates well with the episode we did on asking for referrals, right? And I think a lot of people look at Pop-Bys as an opportunity to ask for referrals, right? In a clever way that's fun. And Garrett, we get a lot of I know that I get some of the feedback of like, yeah, but my people like it, right? And this correlates with the other episode we've done years ago on, well, okay, liking something and truly embracing and loving something, and that being something that elevates you in their reticular activating system to send referrals, are two totally different things. Because a Pop-By that is a type of product might land with some people, right? The seeds as an example. Some people are like, oh, great. I always look to garden in the spring. This is perfect timing. I can plant these seeds and everything. Whereas there are people who are like, I don't know what to do with these things. There's a funny tagline that's kind of neat and interesting and like, oh, cool. I'm glad Garrett thought of me, but I don't then turn around the next day being like, oh my gosh, man, I'm so grateful that Garrett stopped by and handed me those seeds. It just doesn't stick, right? And so I think part of it is figuring out, okay, what can we do something that connects with your own personal brand? Now, if you're like you have a big garden in your yard and you're known for that and you're dropping seeds off because like, this is a passion of mine and I would just, if you want to give it a try, I want to share it with you. That's a different story.
Totally different.
And this is where a lot of people say, well, I just need to do something because it keeps me top of mind, keeps me in front of them more than any other realtors. Yeah, But what do you really want your long-term brand to look and feel like? Do you want to be the guy that drops random stuff off? Like, and maybe that's good enough, it's making that choice.
But so Matt, so let's look at it. Like, I have an agent that I used to coach in DC, and she did an entire Valentine's Day Pop-By thing. I remember her sending me photos of her entire office full of these bags. She started going through it and had all these like really unique chocolates and all kinds of fun stuff in it. And by the way, I loved that Pop-By. There was no tagline to it. She didn't turn it into anything about her. It wasn't something that when I got it,
I love referrals or something like that. Wasn't stamped on the box.
Nobody got that and felt like it was a mass-produced thing that went out to 1,000 people. You might have been the only one. It might have been only for her top clients and top friends, because it was really kind of a nice thing that was put together. Like the specialty side of it, of going that was a one-off thing for me, or having even the chance that it was a one-off thing for me, that's where the power comes from. It's like knowing that my favorite, and again, I don't drink coffee, but I'm thinking back to my friend John Simmons, who used to do this for somebody. John Simmons is a great agent in Fort Collins with a company called C3. He's an owner of C3. John, back in the day, I remember him doing this. He had on his database a friend of his that the pumpkin spice latte, that was her favorite drink. She would get excited about it every year when it would come out. John had a note of that. And when he knew the date that the pumpkin spice latte came out, he would swing by Starbucks, get the pumpkin spice latte, and he'd drop by her office and be like, "Here, I was thinking about you. I was getting coffee this morning and I thought you might want one of these." And she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, John, you're incredible. I can't believe you." Like, that is a brilliant Pop-By the way. You can call it whatever you want. The name, let's take the ninja or non-ninja name out of it.
Isn't it just showing up and doing something nice for somebody? And I think that's where I think people get confused, because the word Pop-By has this connotation of structured kind of tchotchke type of things that we're going to deliver with some people. Some people don't have that connotation to it, but I think a lot of people who've gone through Ninja have attached that. So just take the word Pop-By out of it and say, hey, how can I, in a planned way for myself, so that I have a system and a schedule in place so I can be efficient with my business, show up in people's worlds unexpectedly and bring them a moment of joy. And a pumpkin spice latte to somebody who loves that, which is a lot of people, by the way. So that is something you could probably scale and figure out, like, who likes pumpkin spice lattes? And you can, instead of just one person, be like, I got the 10 people on my list who love this. I'm going to go get these to these 10 people. That's structured. That's planned. That would be a quote Pop-By and bring tremendous value to somebody.
At the same time, I can go to my friend Tim and drop by with an IPA and be like, "Here, man, I was at the store and I saw this new beer that I have never seen before, and I thought I'd drop by. Like, here, like I bought one for you. Send him a picture of it and put it on his front doorstep, being, here, I left this for you. It's behind the planter." You can do that stuff, and he is going to be like, "That's awesome, man," whether I'm there to drink it with him or not. Like, that is just thinking about him, came to mind, something special about them. And yes, we can mass produce this idea of these Pop-Bys. And there's certain times, and that's why I want to say there's certain times that it's okay. There's certain holidays where you might do a certain thing, but the minute you turn it into about you, this is where we cross the line, and it's not ninja. And that's what I want to encourage everybody right now. Like, it's a great thing. We should drop by and bring something of value.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if we're going into this attracting mode, what we want to cause is enough connection with somebody and enough purpose of this meaning behind this that it makes them move towards us.
Right.
And I always tell the people that I coach, Matt, and you've seen this too, you can physically watch somebody's energy change when they move towards you. They square up with you shoulder-wise. Sometimes they'll even step in towards you. Sometimes they'll reach out towards you.
A little forward lean. Yeah.
A forward lean, and you're like, you do something nice for somebody, and they like, really? And they like lean in, and you're like, okay, that's somebody's energy moving towards me. At the same time, when you make it about you, watch somebody. You can watch somebody's energy move away from you. They'll typically take one step back. They'll unsquare their shoulders off with you. They'll kind of turn off diagonally with you. You literally can watch their energy change. And even though they're going to say like, "Oh, you're so sweet. You always do these fun things," or, "Oh, you always got these like little stuff," if you're going to a true relationship building, really raising that energy to the highest level, we can do better as ninjas.
Well, you think about it too. This is an opportunity to be face to face with somebody, potentially have a conversation, or if they're not home and you're dropping off, create a series of interactions. Why not select something that you're going to be excited to talk about? You're going to be excited to share as well. I mean, otherwise leave it for your auto flow, right? Because that's then what it is at that point. And autoflow is amazing, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But if you have something that you're like, hey, this is a nice thing, it's a good tip, or it's something, but I'm not like super passionate about it, maybe that's good for a postcard or an email versus a potential face-to-face interaction and further conversation. I was just on the receiving end of a quote Pop-By. One of my friends just randomly, and I consider a Pop-By a random stop by. It's not planned. They don't know you're coming, and that leads into a whole nother conversation of, should I text people and let them know I'm coming? Maybe we'll get into that. But he just showed up randomly with a 6-pack because he wanted to, see us at the new house and figured like, hey, you could probably use some beer with all the unpacking that you're doing. And showed up randomly. I was on a client call, and so he just waited outside for like 15 minutes.
Did you I need more than a 6-pack when I'm moving?
It's like, did you bring a keg? But he just hung out outside for 15 minutes until I was done, and we got to hang out and chat a little bit, show him the house, and it was awesome, right? And now he's not a realtor or anything like that, so it wasn't necessarily, but that's what a Pop-By is, right? An unexpected arrival with some great value that makes somebody feel good.
Let's take it down this route too, because I have something that was delivered to me as a Pop-By that I actually love. And this comes from Jen Egbert, who's an agent out of Boulder, Colorado. I coached Jen for, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years now. We're 12 years, 10 years, something like that. And what Jen gave me one time was one of those phone charging blocks, the little battery powered packs that you can recharge. And on the front of it, it says Jennifer Egbert. Her name is all the way down the side of it. And so it's like, okay, it is branded to her business. The interesting thing is when she gave it to me, she gave it as like, look at how cool these things are. Like, here, I have one for you. And she's like, here's one for all the kids too. So all the kids got one. I got one. Sarah got one. So all of a sudden we have these little battery packs, super useful, by the way. And it was just given as I thought you guys would like this. Now, again, if she turned it into a sticker down the side of it that said, supercharging my business with you in my life, all of a sudden, it's okay, great. With the little battery pack, still have me go, this is useful and I'll keep it, and we're going to keep it around and use it around the house. But does it change the intention of what the actual gift was that was dropped by? And that's where we need to be careful, because they'll still say, and I will still say, even if it had the sticker on it, oh yeah, it was nice. We liked it. Thanks, Jen. But just having it be the gift is different. Now, a Pop-By that I heard about a couple of years ago was a calculator. It was a simple $1 calculator you can get at CVS.
Because we all need calculators in the age of smartphones.
By the way, this was not that long ago that this was done. And on the back of the calculator saying, my success is incalculable without you in my world.
That's a thumbs down for me.
Agents sent out a ton of these things. And I'm sitting here going, okay, so comparing this to the battery pack little thing, battery pack, definitely more expensive, by the way.
Sure.
The money that was spent on that is way more than what was spent on the simple calculator. The intention behind it, totally different. One was, I have this thing that's really cool that I think your family's going to love. That's branded. The other one was a calculator that I don't even know what I would do with. I have a calculator in my pocket that actually goes out way farther in equations than that calculator is going to do right there. So now I'm looking at this little calculator going, it's just junk. It's one more thing I have in my life that I got to either put into a drawer because I don't want to throw it out. I'm going to have to hold on to it. Oh, well, maybe that's the power of it, Matt, is I'm afraid to throw it out. So it's going to be around me forever with their agent's name on it. That's the power.
Yeah, I think that's something you got to Marie Kondo and just get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Thank you for being in my world, and now you're gone.
Think of it this way: if you couldn't give it to the Salvation Army with them going "Oh, thanks, we can use this. We'll do something with it."
Would you give it to yourself? I guess is the question. And if this person happens to be listening, I apologize for the harsh criticism on the calculator. But I think you can step up your game. I mean, would you want to receive these things, right? Would you want to receive a calculator? Would you want to receive something with a type of message that seems self-serving versus giving? And I do like the idea of soft branding things. I mean, we did a whole episode on that too. And I think we went around in circles and concluded that if anybody wants us to send us a Yeti cooler with their brand on it, we'll use it.
Still haven't got one.
But yeah, neither have I. So anybody out there, but fun messages I think are valuable too. Something that makes somebody smile or makes somebody laugh that is, directed towards them. Like if you have a unique type of Pop-By gift that, like let's say take the charger, for example, and it said something like, hey, just want you to be able to not run out of battery in those last minutes of scrolling through Facebook, right? Or something like kind of goofy and silly that is more creative than anything that I can come up with. That would be cool. I don't think that's not self-serving. That's just, hey, let me bring a little entertainment to Garrett's world today.
Here's where I'm going, because this just came into my mind as I think the path that I'm going to go with moving forward. If it's not a consumable, it has to be something that can be donated. Like donated to like an organization and have value to them, because almost every single Pop-By I've really worked, the ones that make me step back and be like, I don't know, could not be donated. The places that would accept donations like that would be like, yeah, we have no use for that. Like, thank you. Like, you can keep your garbage. Do you have anything else? Oh, the little battery charger thing. Like, they would take that and they'd put that on their shelf and they would sell it to earn money and to make that organization work. The other stuff is garbage. It's going to be thrown out. It's like, I'm going to throw it out. They're going to throw it out. So again, I think with this is that we have a lot of ninjas that have gone through other training programs out there. They do get a good response from their people on Pop-Bys. And Matt, what I'm hoping with this episode today, they can look at those Pop-Bys and say, okay, we know delivering something like that works. We know being in that person's presence is something that we're trying to get. We know having the forward conversation and connecting with them, this gives us a reason to all of a sudden drop by and give them something. Make it ninja. That's all we're talking about, is to take that great idea and turn it into something that's a little bit more personal, a little bit more powerful, and make that relationship blossom to the next level, rather than just it being a silly reason to stop by and say hi to somebody with something that they really probably don't have a use for.
Well, at the core, if you look at it, right, this is a tactic that's part of a system. And so if you are like, oh, I need to do Pop-Bys because they're great. Well, any system can say they're great because what's the benefit? Well, you get to talk to somebody in person. You get to have a conversation. You get to learn about them, right? It's a tactic. And so, yes, of course, people say they work because it does elevate you in somebody's consciousness. And Victoria has a question apparently too. But
I just took a picture of her, Matt, because she's putting a cord in her mouth. Like I'm seeing that.
My
parenting radar is going off the chart, dude.
I see it in the camera. I got myself on screen, so I see it there, and she's not doing anything harmful. It's not plugged into anything. There's just a little USB-C cord there. But anyway, that it's a tactic, right? It's just an element of a system. And so I then say, well, what's the opportunity cost of running that tactic versus something else? Because you could do something other than Pop-Bys and see success as well, right? And so thinking that you need to have more.
It started.
Oh, there she is.
It's 25 minutes. 25 minutes is her max.
Yeah. Do not plug that in, sweetie. Welcome, everybody. This is Victoria.
25 minutes. That's the max.
She is 3.5 years old and full of love and energy and all that good stuff. But to conclude my thought on the Pop-By is do the opportunity cost of that and then determine, hey, what do I want to build into my system? What do I have time and effort for? And how do these things bring value to the people that I'm doing it with? And this is where I think you can look at that and say, you know what, maybe just my top 10 people are going to get that random stop by because I can really put a lot of intention and interest into that. Whereas going across my 100-person database is going to be really hard to do and take up a lot of time. Whereas I can switch to a different tactic like phone calls that might work better.
And the intention behind it. Is it value? And at the end of the day, is it about me or is it about them? And I think that that's where I watch people really derail off this, is they use it as a tactic to stop by and see somebody. At the same time, they're making it about them. And the minute you're making it about you, take a step back and say, okay, this I got the wrong energy attached to this thing. If you can take it and make it about them, you got the right energy attached to it. And again, you can use a Pop-By and make it about them. It's totally easy to be done.
Easy.
It's just funny how fast we just want to make it about us. It's like, stop.
Well, and that's like all marketing too. You know, we do that with a lot of things. How can I use this to get business from? And I get it. It's because we build these systems for our business. I totally understand that. And this is where pull in elements like the thank you economy, you know, that we talk about a lot, Gary Vee's book, and just think about the ninja way of doing something. And I think the best question, it's just like in the Go Giver, they talk about this. Does it make money is not a bad question. It's just a bad first question. Does it add value is the correct first question, right? And so do that with your marketing. Does this add value to the people who are receiving it?
I 100% agree. And I think we can end that right there, Matt, with if the first question is, does it make money for me or does it add value, is the space that you need to start in. So I'm watching the camera here. I will post a picture of this, by the way, as long as Matt approves it. But super funny, man. This has been a funny podcast. All good stuff.
Yeah, no, well, I figured, well, since she's here, Victoria, do you want to say thank you to everybody? Say thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Victoria's so cute.
So there you go. Victoria joined in, and hey man, Garrett, this is a good topic. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about it because a lot of people ask questions about it, and so and for some of you, this may not be concrete enough of an answer, but hopefully it's close enough for you to figure out how to put this in play in your system. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Garrett, for bringing this one to the table.
Sarah, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for bringing up this idea. And hopefully she will not have as big of a pet peeve with this going forward.
She's like, could you just address it?
As people elevate the Pop-By game.
Could you just address it with people? That's where she was at.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So, well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you have not joined our Facebook community, where there's over 11,000 amazing people sharing value, right? Thing about this episode, there are people there who are posting, who are sharing value, who are asking questions, who are commenting. Great stuff going in there. Head over to Facebook and search for the Ninja Selling Podcast. And if you want to learn more about ninja selling, if this is your first kind of experience with ninja selling, you're like, well, how do I learn more? Head over to ninjaselling.com. You can learn about coaching. You can learn about installations, which is our 4-day training, or just go grab the Ninja Selling book by Larry Kendall off Amazon. It's an amazing place to start your ninja journey. And we hope to see you on the path. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And Garrett, thanks again. And thank you for Victoria for being pretty darn well behaved during this entire thing.
My question for you, Matt, is at what point is it not cute to have your kids on the podcast? Because Victoria is definitely in the cute age. And I'm sitting here going like, if I had my daughter Jocelyn, who's 18, come in here and be like, hey, Dad, I'm hanging out with you. Like, what's going on? Like, it wouldn't be cute. Everybody would be like, oh my gosh, okay, Garrett, tell your adult to get out of the room and go away.
I think it transitions, it shifts from cute to then like, well, because Jocelyn went to an installation, it'd be cool to get her opinion of that, you know, of, hey, growing up in a house of ninja, what was it like going through an installation? Now, I think that would be interesting.
Look at you, man. I think that could be very interesting. I would need to get her to want to be on the podcast at that point in time. Like, then it would be like hey, or would you be excited about this? But the little cute voice in the background, that's what I'm talking about, man. Victoria's amazing. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you all, and we will be back soon.
Take care, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.